I want to start off by saying this video is going to have little to no editing because I'm a lazy fuck. But I just wanted to go over like a theory I have for how I think the Walten files will end. So first off, I think that Bond is indeed possessed by Jack Walten. And this is what I think actually ended up happening. I think Jack Walten went to where the crash site was, and he found the graves of his two children, of Ed and Molly. And I believe that, what's his name? Felix. I think that Felix probably either was following him or came across him or something. Or maybe it was like Jack Walten followed, Felix and found him at the grave sites. Something like that. I think something like that happened. And I think it was either that Jack got really pissed just seeing all of that and tried to kill Felix, and Felix killed Jack in self-defense, or, and this is what I think could possibly be more likely, is that I think I think Felix killed Jack to save his own ass. I think that Jack found out about the reality of the situation, and Felix was all like, well, I can't let this get out, so he just fucking murdered Jack. A lot of people think that Jack had a lot of people do believe that Jack had an altercation with Felix, but a lot of people seem to believe that it was a situation where Jack went to confront Felix, based on his last goodbye to his family and whatnot, but I don't fully believe that personally. I think the whole he was going away for business sort of thing, I think that very much was not necessarily a final goodbye, but more of a, he didn't know how long it would take, but he was going to like stalk Felix to find out what happened. And he followed Felix. Felix went to the graves to check up on them or some shit, and Jack caught him in the act. And then I think the devastation is what caused it. It's almost like, it's very similar to what we see with Sophie, where I think the grief and devastation actually made Jack fully break, and that's why the Jack we see in Wonderland and the Jack that is possessing Bond just does not seem to be Jack, you know? I think he's just so broken that, similar to Sophie, he's now forgotten his life before Wonderland. And instead, he still has his, he still has a little bit of love for his family. And so I think a lot of his actions of killing people are, fed by his want to have his family reunited. Even though he doesn't fully remember them as his family, he just knows that he has a deep love for them. And that's why he kills Rosemary, and I think that's also partly why he kills some of the other characters that get killed. For instance, the very first death we see is, I forgot their name. But the very first death that we see, I think, is because Jack believed that person was Sophie. and yeah, he killed them to bring Sophie into Wonderland and then possess that suit. So I think the ending of the Walten Files will be Sophie, after playing that video game, starts to become obsessed with the BSI and whatnot, and starts looking more into it, and is all like, I have a connection here, and she's like trying to remember it. And I think there's going to be a real nice moment where Bond is about to kill her, like maybe choking her out, and she's like crying and going like, Dad. And then Bond, the mask of Bond finally slips. Or what would be really interesting is if the literal Bond mask falls off and we see decayed Jack underneath as like a final scare, but that's also representative of Jack remembering who he is and realizing that maybe by letting his emotions get the better of him, he's turned into a monster just like Felix did. And I think Felix is going to be a foil in a way to that, where to the very end, I don't think Felix is ever going to admit what he did was wrong. And I think in the end, Felix is probably going to be killed by the BSI employees who got stuffed into the animatronic suits. And then we're going to have like a Five Nights at Freddy's 3 ending where all of the souls are all like, well, I got no more shit here anymore. Felix is dead, so I got nothing more to deal with here. So then they just fucking dip. And yeah, I think that's how the series will end, possibly. I could be wrong, but I also could be right. Also, I'm working on something related to the Walten Files, but I won't say anything about it because I'm trying to get in contact with the creator of the Walten Files to get their permission. And then if I do end up getting their permission, I might actually talk about it a bit more. But yeah, I'd rather get their permission, even though it's just a fan project. I would rather get their permission than not get their permission and create the thing and then have them go like, actually, I don't like what you did with the characters, or some shit like that, you know? So yeah, I'm just gonna like wait for them to respond, and then if they're all like, yeah, I'm cool with it, I'll be all like, I bet. If they want me to change anything, I already told them I'd be happy to change anything. But yeah. Hopefully they end up just liking the idea and don't ask for like any changes. Besides maybe if they think the gameplay is stupid, because at the moment I wrote the gameplay in like maybe an hour or two. I'm already spoiling what it is by saying gameplay. Anyways, what I wrote very quickly while sleep deprived, but I still like what I wrote so far, but I also don't at the same time. I do have plans of editing what I have and adding more to it, and yeah, if I get permission from what's their name? Isn't it Martin? I forgot their actual name. Give me a second here, let me look back through my sent messages. Okay, yeah, Martin Walls. I thought so. Yeah, if Martin Walls does end up getting back to me and is all like, yeah, go for it, then I probably will make a more in-depth video on what I'm creating, and I'm probably also going to make a bunch of Reddit posts to get opinions on what I'm creating, and I might try to contact people about what I'm creating and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.